Hey, man.
Dude, what's going on, man?
How are you, Zachary?
How you doing, man? You are live right now on the Zach Moonshine Show, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Fuck yeah, dude. We just got done blasting Procession. That track.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, dude, that track is fucking killer, man. Holy shit. What the fuck?
Thanks, man. I like to play.
Hell yeah, dude. I can tell, man. You and more than play, dude. You're fucking shredding, dude. Like, what the fuck? That was badass.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Hell yeah, man. So tell us, man, what's been going on in the world of Curran Murphy?
A nonstop thrill ride of adventure and never not doing things. No, I mean, obviously with 72 Legions, we just released the new EP, which, we have available for sale on bandcamp.com. Plug. Of course, you can stream it everywhere for free, but I don't know. I like to sell copies of records, so yeah. But I mean, we just released the new EP, and that was to do. We were playing a really big show at the House of Blues. Turned out to be like a sold out crowd, which was crazy awesome, like to 1,800 people. It was out of control, and I wanted to have CDs for that show and shirts and everything, so we took 3 of the songs that we were going to put on the full length and decided we'll do a 3-song EP, and we released it that night on January 20th, and it's been doing great ever since. So, I mean, today I had a writing session with Robert, the other guitar player, for new material for the full length, which we're working on. We want to try to have that maybe not finished by the end of February, but definitely ready and finished by the middle of March or something. So we're going down to Puerto Rico at the end of the month to play a metal fest in San Juan, which is going to be awesome.
Nice.
And so we got that going on. Trying to get together some tour plans for June and August in the U.S. And a bunch of regional shows, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia coming up in March as well. And, I mean, between all the 72 Legions stuff, I got, my recording studio. I actually just finished up a drum session with a really good local rock and roll band here in Ohio. So just finished that. They literally just left, and the phone started ringing. So, and then my amp company and, just all that madness with building tube amps and everything. So that's everything I got going on. A lot.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, that's badass. You guys are going down to Puerto Rico, man, because, I'm half Puerto Rican myself, so to me, that's fucking cool that you guys are going down there to do that, man, in the fucking homeland. Yep. Hell yeah.
We're super excited to get to do it. For some of the guys in the band, they've, never done anything that far away, like, wait, we're going to an island to play heavy metal? It's like, yeah, we're going, guys. Oh shit! So,
hell
so
yeah.
it's a lot of excitement here in the 72 Legions camp. A lot of fun, new, cool stuff that, hell, even I've never done. I've never been to Puerto Rico, so I'm excited to get to go and see what the metalheads are like down there, man. I hope they're fanatical.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never been, but my dad, he's from there, so that's all I know. But yeah, man, I've always wanted to go though. Hell yeah, check it out,
cool.
Man.
Yeah, we're excited.
You plugged fucking Bandcamp earlier, dude, and I gotta say, man, today is actually, as a matter of fact, Bandcamp Friday, so it's a good time for people out there, man. If you're listening and you just heard what we just played, obviously you're blown away and you're thinking, where can I go to buy this? Go to Bandcamp right now.
Yep, yeah. So 72 Legions at bandcamp.com, or I don't know how the link works, but
it's easy to find.
Yeah, and we've been able to get everything really nice and organized, so the CDs go out the very next day and everything. So, and we also have shirts and stuff, but I don't for sale. But we're saving those. We're going to take those down to Puerto Rico with us, a bunch of CDs and shirts, and I want to make sure we got them for potential fans down there before I put them up on the Bandcamp page.
Absolutely, man. Definitely, man. Definitely. So tell us Well, I mean, it's an EP. It's only 3 songs, but it's all killer, no filler, man. Fucking like, there's no, there's no speed bumps on that shit, man. It's
Well, thanks. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. On the hard copy of the CD, there are 3 bonus tracks that are on the CD that you can't get any other way except to buy the CD. So there's 2 demos. It's all live in the studio, pre-production demos that we did. 2 songs from the upcoming full length that we're going to release at the end of March, and then Muted Empathy, which is, we've got a studio version on the EP, and then we've got a live in the studio version. So they're demo versions where, like, literally it's all 5 of us in the studio, like recording the parts and trying to work on them and figure it out. And there's warts and stuff, but I thought that would be fun to have as, like, a special thing for the CD EP.
That is really cool. Yeah, that is really cool. So if we go to Bandcamp right now and order the CD, we get 2 bonus tracks.
Three bonus
tracks. Hell yeah, dude.
Yep. And two of those bonus tracks will be studio cuts on the full length record.
Man, that's fucking awesome, dude. That is seriously cool, man.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Well, I always wanted, like, when you buy CDs or you would buy, like, the Japanese imports and stuff, you'd always, like, what's the bonus track, kind of thing. And I thought, a 3-song EP is so small, what could we do that would be really cool? And we had all these pre-production, demos that we had recorded in the studio to kind of figure out tempos and who's playing what, is it right, all the arguments that bands have when they go in the studio. So we had, like 7 or 8 things, and those were the 3 that really sounded the best of all of us kind of playing in the room together. And it's like, man, let's just put those on there for fun. What the hell? What's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing. So.
No, that's a really good idea, and yeah, like, lots of us metalheads, we love that kind of shit, man. I know I do. I have a huge collection of different, different versions of stuff that I've bought over the years, just because it had something extra like that on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah. we like that shit, man. So that's cool, dude. That's cool that you think about stuff like that, man.
Well, I mean, I'm still a metalhead fan and love cool records and, stuff that, like, you can't stream it. You got to buy the thing to get it. Like, okay, or even how they're re-releasing and remixing classic metal records up for vinyl now. The wife and I just bought Dio, Holy Diver, and it sounds nothing like the original cassette that I had in high school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, whoa! So yeah, that I just think that's cool, man. That the legs of metal never seem to tire.
Definitely, man, definitely. Yeah, and I know what you mean. Like, those remasters do sound cool, but there's something special about those originals because it takes you back to the first time that you sat there and listened to it,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Well, so tell us about your amps, man. Fucking Custom Audio Mutation, dude. I know firsthand because I've stood in front of the stage in front of Richie Randall with Gravehuffer, man, jamming.
Yeah, Richie.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Gravehuffer. Dude, I love that band. Richie's actually one of my first endorsees for the company. He contacted me, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and, hey, man, do you do endorsements? And, right away I'm sitting there thinking, oh, just some dude wants free gear. Well, I can't get, they're all handmade one at a time by me. I build them all one at a time. It's like, man, I can't give away an amp. So I'd message him like, hey, man, I can't give away any amps, but if I like your band, I'll give you an artist price, and do you tour? What do you do? Let me hear your stuff. And he sent me some links to some things, and I was like, oh, my God, this sounds like old school, New York Prong. One of my favorite bands of all time. I'm like, oh, dude, you're hooked up. I'll give it. Let me get you an amp. So, but no. So, Custom Audio Mutation is my tube amp company. I build, handmade, one at a time, high gain, crazy tube amps. That's what I like to do, in addition to, being a record producer and playing in bands. So, I've got a couple of dual channel models, clean and distortion channels, and a bunch of single channel monsters. I do a couple of cool kind of vintage recreations of like the classic, the Marshall 800 and the Eddie Van Halen Plexi and cool stuff like that. That I just build stuff that I like, and I've been real fortunate that people also like what I build, so they buy it. But everything is, turret board construction, hand hammered turrets, and wired up one at a time by me. It's pain in the ass, but I love doing it. So that's Custom Audio Mutation. And I've got a YouTube channel and a CustomAudioMutation.com and Custom Audio Mutation on Facebook and all that. So you can real easy to find me. And if you got questions about stuff or recording or the amp company, or I even have people send me amps from all over the country to do mods and stuff. I had a dude send me an amp from Texas, a JCM 800 that wasn't working, and he's like, "Can you just make it cool?" Sure, I like doing that. So he sent me this broken down Marshall, and I brought it back from the dead, and then violated it and made it, an unholy high gain death metal monster.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I've been checking out your stuff, dude. You got a lot of cool stuff, man.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So how did you get it? How did you get into that? Like, did you go to school for that, or was like?
No. So I've been a record producer for over 20 years now, and everything that I do is always kind of stems from my frustration with stuff you could buy in a store.
Mm-hmm.
And it started actually with, guitar pedals. Like, you'd plug in 3 or 4 guitar pedals, and suddenly your guitar sound is terrible. Well, what the hell's going on with this? Why is it this way? Do a little Googling, and you find out, oh, well, this pedal has this kind of buffer built into it, and this pedal has this thing in it that, kind of screws up the high end and all this stuff, and then find out, well, I can mod those pedals to make them not do that. Okay, cool. And then realize, I have a really cool Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. I got a rack mount dual rec head. They're very cool, but they need a $99 tube screamer in the front of them to really make them awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that just doesn't make sense. That's weird to me, that a really cool, expensive amp needs a little solid-state pedal in the front to sound metal and have tight low end and the right kind of high gain thing.
So you put the boost inside of it.
Well, no. So what I started doing was researching, like, well, how hard is it to mod amps, this and that. I can build pedals, I can mod pedals. So it should be easy to mod amps. And then I realized, oh God, it's not. It's really hard to mod amps. It's easier to build them. Well, I'll just do that. So I went and took a class from Bruce Ignator, who's kind of the godfather of high gain.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people might not know that, but guys like Dave Friedman apprenticed under Bruce Ignator for 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
And then went out to LA and started Friedman Amplification and all that cool stuff. And Bruce is just the man. So I took a class from him back in 2006 on how to build tube amps, and just never stopped from that. And Bruce and I have developed a really good, mentor, mentee. He is my Yoda. So whenever I get stuck, Bruce, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. He's like, well, here's what you're doing wrong, Curran. Oh, thanks, Bruce. He knows right over the phone what I'm doing wrong. It's great because he's done it all. He's a true master of building multi-channel, high gain, crazy amps, and he's been super nice to me from the start. As a matter of fact, all of my amps, the tube effects loops that I have in them, is a schematic and a design that Bruce gave me. He's like, here, use this. What? And use this. So, he gave me the tube effects loop, which is completely transparent, completely awesome. And, I wanted a tube effects loop instead of a little solid state one, like in a lot of amps, just because I wanted a tube. And he's like, well, here, I've had this design for 20 years. Go ahead, Curran. Holy shit. So that's how I got into it, and I just keep building them, and I build them for me. Like, what's the gain? What's the tone? What's the sound? That's what I like. And again, guys like Richie, guys like Johnny Compton, guys like Matt Hanchuk from Rectify, they like what I do too, and they're all endorsed artists. So, yeah.
Man, that is really cool. Yeah. I know, I recognize quite a few of those names that you're talking about because I watch insane amounts of interviews and reviews and videos with all those guys on YouTube, man. I'm a big junkie on stuff like that, man. I love it.
Cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah, man. You talk about having a tube effects loop, man. I know. Yeah, you're right. Like a lot of effects loops are just solid state. How does it change the sound when you have tubes in there, in that part of it?
Well, you can do an effects loop really, really well with solid state components. You can. I'm not talking smack on it. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's just the kind of thing like, well, I just want it to be a tube. I want it to be a tube. That's it. And so the design of the circuit that Bruce did is just a pure, clean, impedance match, and then level match on the way back in, all through a tube, just pure, clean tube. And I put solid state loops in amps for guys like the Metro Zero Loss effects loop and the Mojo Tone effects loop. Like those loops are very good. They are good, and they work great. But again, just for me, I just would like everything in my amps to stay tube, to be tube, for no other reason than I just like the idea of it being a tube. So the difference in tone, the real thing is, like certain amplifier companies just have poorly designed effects loops. So even if it's running through a tube, it ruins the sound of the amp when you use the loop. And I mean, if you're a guitar player or guitar players, there are certain amps that the effects loop just sucks. Oh, it's a piece of shit. And it's got nothing to do with solid state or tube. It's just with how it's designed. And I'm not going to I won't name names, but everybody out there knows they've had an amp and they try to put a delay pedal in the loop, and suddenly, well, my awesome amp now sounds like shit. Well, that, fuck effects loops. And, yeah. So for me, the whole thing about, having a tube effects loop really is just that I just wanted it. And then I got lucky. Bruce gave me that design, and it sounds amazing. So that's it, man. It's a cool design.
That is cool, man. It's crazy how much of a difference all those little things actually make, and just the amp build or whatever they put in the circuitry in there, man. It really does make a difference. Even like when you're plugging in, if you're running everything into effects return and you're just using the power amp section on an amp, I always thought that it would just probably sound the same on any amp. The power section is just the power section. Like, what's going to make it any different? But even that in itself is totally different. Like, if you plug into the return of one amp and then do it the same way on another one, the tone comes out. It's completely fucking different, man. It's really weird.
Well, yeah. So, tube power amps, they're basically two standard kinds that you're going to get. One is the Marshall European style, the EL34, and the other one is the American 6L6, like the Fender Marshall, or a Fender Mesa, Peavey, anything with 6L6, and they're completely different sounding power sections. The output transformers are different. The tubes are different. The way they break up, the way they reproduce sound, it's all different. The way they're filtered, Marshalls have a lot looser filtering, so the low end is a little squishier, and Mesas and Fenders and Soldanos and anything with 6L6s are kind of filtered a lot stiffer, like there's just more filtering, so it's almost more of a hi-fi amp where the amplifier just makes the volume and it doesn't add any character, or the designer doesn't want it to add any character, and then they want all the character and flavor to come from the preamp. Like Mike Soldano says that, where he's like, I just wanted the power amp to be flat and clean, and not have any coloration, Yeah. So yeah.
That is fucking cool, man.
Thanks.
Well, now also I got to ask you, man, about your history as a musician, man. I didn't know that you were also that you played in Annihilator and Nevermore for a period of time, man. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, what do you want to know? So with Nevermore, I met up with those guys and auditioned for them back in 1997 in Seattle when I lived out there, and it was right after Pat had kind of had quit to go join Cannibal Corpse, and they had finished up. What was the record? Jesus God, Politics of Ecstasy, great album. They had finished that and needed a touring guitar player to go to Europe, and I came down and auditioned, and the flattering thing was I was the only guitar player they auditioned. After they auditioned me, they were like, all right, we're good. We'll take this guy. So that was cool, and I didn't know those guys. I didn't know their histories. They'd been Sanctuary and stuff. I didn't know any of that. I just thought it was a really cool band with great guitar and a clean vocal style that I thought was really unique and awesome, and not like your typical kind of power metal thing, which I wasn't really into. Mm-hmm. So I went and did the Politics of Ecstasy tour with them. Then they decided to get Tim Calvert from Forbidden to come in and be their permanent guitar player. So I stepped out, and then Tim wanted to go be an airline or a commercial airline pilot. So he's like, I'm kind of done with music, and left, and they called me back for the Dead Heart and the Dead World tour, and we did that entire, it was like 2.5, 3 years of touring for Dead Heart and the Dead World, where I'm playing, stuff off of Politics of Ecstasy, off of Dreaming Neon Black, Dead Heart and the Dead World, and, the first European tour we did on the Dead Heart tour, we were co-headlining with Annihilator. And about a week into the tour, Jeff Waters comes up to me. He's like, hey, man, so are you in this band? I'm like, well, I'm just their touring guitar player, but, we keep talking that if things go well, they might ask me to join. He's like, well, you're really, we're really impressed with you, man. We'd love for you to join Annihilator. I'm like, what? You've got a guitar player. He's sitting over there, And it was weird. It was weird, but, it was really, again, really flattering. Like, geez. But that the other guitar player was getting ready to, bow out and retire and all that. But I told Jeff and the guys in Annihilator, I'm like, look, this is wildly flattering. I can't even believe you're saying this, because everybody knows Annihilator, Alice in Hell, and Neverland, and Kraft Dinner, and Sixes and Sevens, all these great, prog thrash metal tunes. And I told him, like, look, I made a commitment to the Nevermore guys. I can't leave them high and dry. We've got a couple of years of touring going on. And, if they don't want me to be in the band at the end of, all the touring, and if you guys haven't found a guitar player and are still interested, give me a call. But it's going to be like a year and a half, 2 years. And I thought at that point, like, they'll find something. I'll never hear from them again. And sure enough, at the end of the Dead Heart and Dead World tour, what? You still need a guitar? Oh, yeah, dude, we still... So I, met with Jeff, and, he taught me a bunch of the songs, and then got together for rehearsals, and I joined Annihilator. So I was in Annihilator for, from 2002 to 2006, I think? Played on 3 records, 2 live album and 2 studio records, and that was, going from one style of really demanding, challenging heavy metal like Nevermore, and doing everything I could to keep up with Jeff Loomis, one of the greatest guitar players on the face of the earth today.
Yeah.
To going into like this really tight, articulate, militaristic kind of guitar playing thrash metal that Jeff Waters does, and having to change the way I was playing from, playing the Nevermore and Jeff Loomis style of guitar playing to Jeff Waters style of thrash metal guitar playing. It was some of the most exciting and challenging days as a guitar player that I've ever had. And both I am so thankful that I got to be in both of those bands and be involved with both of those bands and get to do what I did. I got to tour the world multiple times, played Wacken 3 or 4 times, twice with each band, I think, and huge festivals in Budapest, like crazy, exciting, fun things, just wild, and I get to do this, woohoo, and then my time with Annihilator came to an end, and Jeff found out that the singer Dave Patton could play guitar and sing at the same time, so all right, I get it, my feelings aren't hurt, and that's when I started my other band, Shatter Messiah, and I have been doing that for many, many years, and I got this really new killer death metal band, 72 Legions, that I get to play in with, Dan Gates on bass and Robert Quaid on guitar, Devin Wyrick on vocals, Colton Zeitler on drums. These guys are maniac players, and you hear it on the record, folks. Devin, 7 feet of metal, that guy, it's like the gates of hell are opening up when he vomits into a microphone. It's great.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, fuck, man. What was it like? What was it like playing those songs live, man? Like Alice in Hell and shit like that, man. Fucking in front of a crowd, dude. Like, cause.
Dude, so Jeff would always arrange the set lists, and like Alice in Hell was always like the last song. It was like the big hit or whatever, and so when that bass lick would start, that when that would start, people would lose their fucking minds, and it was always that goosebump thing, of you'd hear the bass lick, we'd do the little clean guitar, fling, and people just, they would lose it. They knew finally, they're playing the song, that kind of thing. And on a bunch of the Annihilator songs like Never Neverland or King of the Kill or Phantasmagoria, like people know those songs in and out, and it's crazy to me that like they just know those songs and like they sing all the words and sing the melodies. And we played some festivals and we played some shows where the people are singing the lyrics louder than the PA, or singing the guitar solo melody louder than the PA, and it's like, Jesus, is this real? Like, for real, folks? All right, I want to have a beer with everyone after the show. This is great. So it was mind blowing and exciting, and so humbling and such an honor to get to have somebody like Jeff Waters say, okay, you can cut it, you can play my part, you can play in my band with me and be a band member. And same thing with Nevermore, with Jeff Loomis. Jeff and I worked so hard, like, on everything about the guitar parts. Like, I was even going so far as to writing out how he was picking each part, down up to, like, writing out the pick strokes. Is he picking down, or is he picking up on this part, or the palm mutes in between? Because Jeff was so passionate about his music and Nevermore and how he recorded everything, and he just wanted it to be so good and so tight that it inspired me to work harder to make sure that I could serve it to him how he wanted it. And same thing for Jeff Waters. Like, I don't want anyone to be able to say, oh, well, you know, Annihilator used to be good, but ever since they got that new rhythm guitar player, they kind of suck. I just wanted it to, you know, I wanted to do honor to those songs, to those bands, to those players, and you know, I wanted people to know, or I didn't want people to question that, you know, yeah, that new guy over there, yeah, he gives a fuck. I can tell he's doing everything he can to play the shit right. So,
hell yeah, man, hell yeah. Well, you're on a double live album from Annihilator too.
Yeah, that was stressful to say the least. We did 6 weeks in Europe, and we were playing like a 2-hour and 15-minute set. And we were recording, like, you know, it was every night was getting recorded, if I'm remembering correct. And you know, Jeff was then going after the tour. He went through, you know, 6 weeks, you know, 48 shows, you know, 2 hours and 10 minutes of each, you know, and going through every song and which one is the best one, which one are we the tightest on, and, you know, then like there'd be technical difficulties, and oh Jesus, well, part of the song was sounding great, and then the computer died, and that level of insanity that he had to go through to make that record work is my understanding. I'll never do that. Nope. we'll rehearse really, really hard and then play like one show, and that'll be it. Or we'll do 2 shows and we'll pick the best songs from each show, and that's what'll be our live record. Because yeah, Jeff was maniacal about it. So that was a real fun and exciting record to be a part of, and I remember that tour really well. Some of the shows on that, like we played in Paris, France at the Moulin Rouge, and it was just crazy. The crowd was insane. And I think Blackest Day might have been pulled from that show, and like one other song where lunacy, absolute lunatics. It was so cool.
Hell yeah. Well, speaking of making records, man, I know you touched on being a producer for a long time as well, man. Can you tell us some of your favorite records that you worked on?
Oh, man. There have been a lot. I mean, I've been, you know, I own a recording studio, and I've been a record producer for over 20 years now. And, I mean, there was a 2 records I did with Van, the drummer from Nevermore. He had a project he was doing called Pure Sweet Hell, and I produced those first 2 records for him, and I'm still really proud of those. I got to produce a solo with Jeff Loomis where he played a guest solo on a God Forbid record, you know, like their second album. That was cool. You know, my melodic death metal band, or my prog death metal band thing that I do, Shatter Messiah, all of those records I'm real proud of. There's a killer band out of San Francisco I produced called Vengeance. That's an awesome record. God, it's I produced a couple Winter's Bane records. After Tim Owens left, the guitar player in that band hired me to produce like 1 or 2 records for him. Those are great albums. So it's, you know, there's this killer thrash metal band from Brazil that flew up to me to produce Machinage. That was an awesome album. They flew in, they were on tour, they stopped at the studio for 3 weeks. We cut the record while they went back out on tour. I mixed it. Then they got signed off of the mixes. They got signed to David Ellefson's record label. And then David Ellefson wanted to have Max Norman remix it, because Max and David Ellefson were friends from, you know, Megadeth. And so, like, Max Norman gives me a call out of the blue, his British accent. And, hey, Curran, I, really wanted to tell you that the record sounds great, and I hope you're not mad that they want to remix it. I'm like, no, man. Dude, you're Max Norman. You worked on Ozzy. You worked on Megadeth. Dude, I'm flattered. And he's like, well, everything sounds great, and we were talking about, how I recorded stuff just so he could kind of understand what was going on with the tracks. And he was real complimentary, and we're still, Facebook and Instagram buddies to this day. So I wish I could afford to hire him to mix my records, because I hate doing it for me. I like doing it for other bands. I hate mixing my own stuff.
Right? Hell yeah, man. That is fucking cool, dude.
Thanks, man.
Well, Curran, I guess I'm about out of questions for you, man. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
I mean, honestly, I just, again, thanks for taking the time to chat with me and let me join in on your cool show and all that. And, I mean, great questions, dude. Hey, did your research on me? Uh-oh. But, no, I mean, honestly, 72 Legions, the new EP, just came out on January 20th. It's available for sale on bandcamp.com. We're still an independent band. So, if you can do us a favor, if you dig what you hear streaming or whatever, man, if you buy a hard copy, we actually, make money on that. My royalty statement last year for streaming was 9 cents. So just us being able to sell merch makes it so we can tour, makes it so we can keep making records. If you dig what we do, it means the world to us when you buy our merch. So, dude. And for any band out there. So that's really all I got to say, man. We're 72 Legions. We're on Facebook. Like us, subscribe, friend, whatever the fuck. I don't even know anymore. And we got a lyric video we're going to debut next week for Paradise, the second song on the EP. So that'll be cool. That'll be up on YouTube, and that'll be out all over the world. And hey, well, we got shirts, we got CDs, all the good stuff. We hope to see anybody and everybody that digs what I do. I hope to see you on tour this year. We're touring the U.S. at least, in June and August. So maybe more if we can really make it build up and work good.
Fuck yeah. Well, dude, as soon as we get off the phone, I'm going to Bandcamp, and I'm going to fucking buy that CD because I want those bonus tracks, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
No shit, man. And it's Bandcamp Friday, so it's even better.
Even better.
Even better, man. All right, well, before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag?
Sure thing. What do I say?
Say something like, this is Curran Murphy from 72 Legions, and you are listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
All right, you got it. This is Curran Murphy from 72 Legions, and you are listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah, dude. Like a pro, man.
I try.
You got it, man. All right, well, I'm going to blast some more fucking tunes from you guys for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, Zachary. Anytime, man. Anytime. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Cheers.
Later.
There you have it, folks. Curran Murphy from 72 Legions, Custom Audio Mutation, Nevermore, Annihilator, fucking cameos on fucking Gravehuffer Records. So much more, dude. So much fucking more, dude. That dude was fucking awesome. But like I said earlier, put your speakers in your fucking windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, you must live around a whole bunch of metalheads, or you're not turning it up loud enough. I'm going to say you're not turning it up loud enough. Turn it up loud, motherfuckers. This is 72 Legions right here on the Zach Moonshine Show.